So what if the main battle that we're fighting every single day isn't between the things that we have going on, the problems that we're dealing with, but it's actually a battle that we're fighting for our attention? So I want to talk about this a little bit because this is absolutely a crazy concept that really just clicked for me literally yesterday. Everything just happened to where I really freaking understood this, and I really want to share this with you guys because it is going to be the thing that can absolutely change your life, give you control, and give you hope, and the hope of absolutely being able to control anything that might come your way. So basically, yesterday I was reading this devotional and it talked about the fact that how if you want to be able to maintain in Jesus's presence, maintain in Jesus's peace, you have to keep your attention on him. And if you're feeling a deficiency, if you're feeling bad in anything, then you have to just refocus your attention on him. You know, life is very funny because a lot of times we know this. We know that God has everything for us. That if we could just maintain a focus on God, then all of a sudden everything will be able to go away. But a lot of times life happens. Stuff happens, bad things happen, and all of a sudden our attention is pulled in one direction or another, and we lose the fact of the focus on him. We lose the paying attention to him, and we stop maybe reading our Bible as much, or we stop really trying to dive into his presence, and we lose that presence. And it very much sucks, and life gets very hard, and you feel like you're fighting this battle alone. But then right after I had read that, later in the day, I went to Barnes & Noble and I'm reading this book called Goals. I'm sitting there reading this book, and in that book, it gave such a perfect speaking to this without even really necessarily being anything about this. He said that where your attention goes, your life surely will follow. And that was like, damn, that is freaking perfect for what this really means. And I was thinking about it in that moment, and I was like, that's what we could do with Jesus. Because it made me think about the fact of, I remember a long time ago, I was at SeaWorld, and it was at that time, October time, it was the Howl-O-Scream, and I wanted to go into this haunted house that they had there. I thought I could handle it. I thought I was ready for it. I thought I was going to be the thing that, nothing was going to faze me. I was okay with it. I go into it, 5 steps in, I'm absolutely terrified. I'm a little kid. I'm absolutely freaking terrified. There's freaking stuff coming out the wall. It's super dark. You can't see anything. You can't see a foot ahead of you. And I don't want to do it anymore. I close my eyes. I can barely get through it. But then all of a sudden, my dad comes, he picks me up and puts me on his shoulder. And I start focusing on his presence, on him, his warmth, the fact that I trust him, his security, the fact that he wasn't scared. He knew that he can get me through this. And all of a sudden, I'm focusing on that. My attention is on that. And by the end of it, I actually was able to kind of turn around a little bit, look, because I felt the security in his presence. And my attention was focused on my Father, not on this darkness, not on anything else that was pulling me away. And it just made me appreciate that we have that. Whether you have a father or not, you have Jesus Christ. You have your heavenly Father who is going to be there for you through thick and thin. You might be dealing with all these things that you have going on in your life that are just pulling you back, forth, everywhere. But if you can focus your attention on your Father and be in his presence, then you ain't got to worry about that stuff. Then you can still feel like you can get through this stuff without even knowing what your next step might be. So in that moment, after I realized that, I was sitting there reading this book, and he's talking about the major definitive purpose, something that you have to set. That thing is going to be where you set your attention. So for myself, I set my major definitive purpose as something that was tied around what I'm currently doing and the fact of how that helps me get closer to God and how I want to get closer to God and continue to set my attention on him. So whatever you're doing right now, how can you wrap it in God? How can you wrap it in trying to get closer to God? How does you getting closer to God and having your attention on him help you become better overall? Because that's where your best traits are going to come out. That's where your best self is going to come out. And if you can start to tie the main thing that you want to do in your life to being closer to God, to actually wanting to focus on him, then all of a sudden you wake up every day thinking about that. You wake up every day focused on God. You wake up every day on noticing God's presence in your life. And that is the best thing ever, because just like he said, your life will surely follow where your attention goes. So this was just an amazing thing for me. And I think we all need a little bit more of this. And if you're dealing with stuff right now, if it's just back and forth, if life feels like it's getting very hard, please freaking do this, because it's going to give you hope in that darkness. I freaking love you guys. I hope y'all have an amazing day. I hope y'all have an amazing life. I hope everything gets better for you if you are dealing with something. And if life is good right now, I hope it continues to be amazing. I love you guys. Hope you have an amazing day, week. Peace.